For today's backyard adventure, we're going to be talking about thinning apples and how you can kind of do some little things to produce bigger and healthier fruit in the fall. So let's take a look at today's video. So for today's backyard adventure, I want to talk about thinning the apple tree, whether you should or not, and kind of some of the benefits on that. It's not a real complicated process, but a tree like this, and I've already started doing this a bit, but you get a bunch of apples that have pollinated well. They're just a little bit smaller than a golf ball, and it's a good time to decide, do you want to keep all of them and just let it go, and you'll get smaller apples, or to kind of thin it out a bit and you'll get some healthier fruit. It's also going to be a little bit less weight on some of these branches. So what my strategy here is I've let the fruit grow to a decent size. A lot of the little ones that had not really gotten good pollination, didn't really survive, they've naturally fallen. I'll kind of zoom in here and show you what that video looks like. So you can see that they're fairly small here, and they've just naturally fallen off with the wind or whatever else. Well, back here on the tree, I've got a lot of these golf ball size ones, and I want to go through here, and I'm generally trying to get about a fist apart, maybe up to 6 inches, and I don't want necessarily all of, if I have a clump of fruit, I want to have maybe one of those that stays. Sometimes I just can't do it, and I got to keep 2, but definitely I don't want 3 on one spot, because I want that fruit to get to a really good size. I'd rather have bigger fruit than lots of small fruit and have to deal with that. All right, so you can see here I've got a clump of 7 or 8 apples, and there's still a little bit of the flower petals left on there, and that's fine. That'll over time fall off. But on this branch here, this branch could probably support 1 or 2 real nice, and if I keep all this fruit on here, you'll have lots of little apples instead of some good size apples. So I'm going to go through here and first start with getting rid of the smallest ones. Just drop them to the ground. There's a few of these that are a little smaller than the others. Now I'm left with, I got one here, and there's a smaller one right down there if I can get to it. All right, 1, 2, 3. Now that is less than a fist apart. They're all on different fruit buds, but I want to be protective of damaging this branch. Oh, this is tough. All right, looks like this middle one's got to go. It's such a healthy one. Okay, again, fist apart. Now I've got 2 good fruit. Let that one go. Let's move over here to the side. Same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 on here. I definitely don't want 4, maybe 2. So start by, oh, they're all so beautiful. This is a hard thing for me. Okay, there's 1 there, and I think I'm actually going to go ahead and keep this one poking up a little bit. Okay, so I got 2 left. And so I'm gonna, now here, just moving up a little bit, you can see there's just 1 fruit. Looks like some naturally fell down on that one. That's good. Move up a little bit more. 1, 2, 3 fruits. I only want 1 on this, no matter how painful this is. Okay, and I'm left with 1 fruit there. Let that one go. Let's go up here. You can see, you know, there's a fruit by itself here. That's fine. And then I got a clump of 3. This one's probably gonna naturally, yeah, see that one naturally fell off. A little smaller. I'm gonna cut the smaller one off here and just keep working away. This is less than a fist. I really don't wanna, you know what? I got 1 here, 1 here. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and take that one out too. Okay. And that's a lot of cutting, but I'm gonna get some good fruit. These 2 are gonna be probably really nice. Come down here, and you can see I've got 3 fruit. I only want to keep 1 of these. This one here in the middle, it's a nice angle. And I could probably pick a variety of these ones here. Well, and I'm left with that. Part of the idea here is this fruit, you can see it's healthy. There's no insect or anything like that. I am going to do 1 more spraying of this, which is another video, but I'm going to get all my fruit how I want it, and then I'm going to go from there. I've got a lot of fruit here, so I've got, you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and even 8 there on this clump. Now, a couple of these are 2 different branches, so I've got some flexibility here, but I want to go through, and I'd love to have, instead of having 5 apples here that are going to be fairly small, I want to have 2 really good size apples. So a real easy decision here is when I have 2 fruits, you know, smaller, bigger, I'm going to pick one of these to go, and sometimes I have like 4 or 5 on a clump, and sometimes you can just pull them off. I like to go just to make sure I don't damage the fruit and just clip off 1. So now I'm left with 2, and I'm going to look here and think, okay, well, it's kind of on the same branch, it's less than a fist apart. I want to keep 1 of these 2, study this, and be like, oh, which one? I'll take off this one. So I've got fruit here on this branch, and then down here, and as these apples get big, this is going to be a lot of weight potentially next year. So I look at this, and you can see I've got 2 fruit. I want to keep 1 of these 2. I'm going to take the bigger one, get rid of the smaller one, and cut that off. I come up here, Got 2 fruit. I'm going to take one of the 2, and I'll get rid of the smaller one. And now fist apart, that's in a good spot. I just keep working my way up the branch. These are 3 of the ones I've already cut. A little tiny one. This one, I mean, it looks like it probably would have grown an apple. Then there's these 2, definitely smaller. This was probably a good one, but it was mixed with a couple other good sized ones. So part of the idea with this is you want to get some good sized fruit. So this tree is going to kick out all, I mean, it's got a lot of great fruiting buds, but I get too much weight on there, and it's going to cause this whole branch to fall, possibly damage, break the tree. So I'm going to watch that as the apples continue to grow. How does the sag go? Do I need to support it or even thin it out? But as this, you know, it's a fairly young tree. I don't know, maybe 6, 7 years old. It's growing, it's getting some thicker branches, but it still is a fairly fragile state. So I got to be careful about letting too much fruit out on these far branches or on some of these thin branches continue. So again, you do not have to do this. Nature will take care of itself oftentimes. You might end up with some broken branches, but if you want to get some great healthy fruit, this is one of the steps. You're also going to look at, do I need to spray again? I maybe did a spray in the wintertime before the buds. Now that the buds are all finished, maybe do a second spray here, and you know, keep this thing free of any sort of possible disease or some of the bugs. That's important. And then, you know, continue to water it, make sure it's dealing all right with the sun, maybe some light summer pruning a little bit later, and watch for that. As I'm pruning this, I'm always looking for any leaf that's all curled up. Maybe there's some bugs in there, some problems. This one overall looks pretty healthy. I've got a couple other trees where I've got some possible areas, and I'll cut those out and then deal with that. But after this thing's all thinned out, I'm going to wait a day or 2, and then I'll come back and do a spray and just continue to let this thing grow and see what happens for the fall. So hopefully this is helpful. If you have questions or thoughts or other input, put those in the comments, and have a good life.